This news alert brought to you by Casarina All Sports Club. All your entertainment under one roof.
Good evening, I'm Elle Conway with your 9 local news update. Today marks 2 weeks until our borders reopen, but there are calls to keep Victorians shut out. An Aboriginal peak medical body warns lives will be at risk if further action isn't taken.
As July 17 draws closer, Southerners will begin flocking to the Territory. But with 10 Melbourne suburbs in lockdown due to a spike in COVID-19 cases, some say Victorians are not welcome.
We are now calling on governments to reconsider a total lockdown on the entire state of Victoria.
Concerns are growing after the Territory yesterday recorded its first COVID-19 case since April. A man flown in from a Melbourne hotspot on Qantas Flight 836 via Brisbane.
I would, like all of my fellow counterparts, say to the Chief Minister, close our borders to people coming from Victoria.
A registered nurse on the flight telling ABC local radio barely anyone wore a mask.
If they want to open our borders, if they're worried about the economy, they need to be talking to Qantas and all the companies. But people should not be allowed on a flight unless they're wearing a mask. And if they're not prepared to wear a mask, don't get on.
The business community has been pushing for the borders to open for some time. Adamant if the right measures are in place, anyone is welcome.
Without discriminating against Victoria specifically, anyone coming in from anywhere should be declaring whether they've been potentially exposed.
Another 7 infringements have been handed out this week. Anyone travelling into the Territory from a coronavirus hotspot will be required to quarantine or they could face jail time. Ainsley Kosh, 9 News.
A 40-year-old man has been sentenced for ransacking and lighting a fire inside a Territory housing unit. 9's Zarisha Bradley has the details.
40-year-old Wadeye man Edmund Cherner has been in custody since his arrest in May last year. He pleaded guilty earlier this year to causing damage to Malak units using fire, admitting to setting fire to a mattress, damaging the ceiling and walls, and ransacking the units in a drunken rage. The court heard he smashed a chair at a caseworker, yelling, "I don't want a male worker in this house. I only want women to work in my house." It happened 2 months after Territory Housing spent $100,000 on renovating the building. The total cost of damage totalling $15,000. The court heard Cherner has 68 convictions against him, but it's the first time he's committed the crime of arson. He was sentenced to 3 years jail today, backdated to May last year, but it'll be suspended in 2 weeks' time.
The Australian Electoral Commission has determined the Northern Territory will lose one of its 2 House of Representatives seats as part of a federal redistribution, meaning one politician will oversee a jurisdiction of 1.4 million square kilometres. The Territory's current elected members are disappointed, but not surprised by the announcement.
It's a whole lot more distance to cover for one person, but it also halves the voice we have down in Canberra.
We lost 0.4% of our population over the 12 months prior to the end of December last year.
A bill put forward by Senator Malarndirri McCarthy is pushing the government to overturn the decision. Thank you for joining us. We'll have more news shortly.